You're about to discover something disturbing about yourself. Right now, at this very moment, millions of people are living lives controlled by traumas they don't even know exist. If you've ever caught yourself thinking, why do I always do this, or why can't I change? The answer might be hidden in something that happened years ago. But pay attention. Sign number 10 is so disturbing you'll need to pause the video to process it. Don't click away before you get there, because what you're about to discover could change your life forever. Let's start with something most people ignore. Have you ever exploded over something small? I mean, really exploded. Someone forgets to text you back and suddenly you're shaking with rage. A friend cancels plans and you feel completely abandoned. Your partner leaves a dish in the sink and you unleash years of fury. Everyone around you thinks you're overreacting, and maybe you are. But here's what they don't understand. Your reaction isn't about the dish or the text. It's about every time you felt invisible as a child. Every time your needs were ignored. Every moment you learned that your feelings didn't matter. Unresolved trauma doesn't stay in the past. It erupts in the present, disguised as anger or tears or silence. Your nervous system is still fighting a battle that ended years ago, but nobody told your body the war is over. That's sign number 1. Disproportionate emotional reactions that seem to come out of nowhere. If this is you, drop a comment saying sign 1. Let's see how many of us are carrying this weight. Now let's talk about trust. Do you find it almost impossible to trust people, even when they've done nothing wrong? Even when they've proven themselves over and over? There's this voice in your head whispering they'll hurt you eventually. Everyone leaves, don't get too close. You build walls so high that nobody can climb them. You test people constantly, pushing them away to see if they'll stay. And when they finally leave, exhausted from trying, you tell yourself, see, I knew it. But here's the truth. That voice isn't protecting you. It's the echo of someone who hurt you before. Maybe it was a parent who was unpredictable. Maybe it was a friend who betrayed you. Maybe it was a relationship that shattered you into pieces. Whatever it was, it taught your brain that safety is an illusion and trust is a trap. So now you're stuck. Desperate for connection but terrified of letting anyone in. That's sign number 2. An inability to trust even when trust is earned. This one cuts deep because you want to believe people, but the trauma won't let you. If you've ever sabotaged something good because you couldn't let yourself trust it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Here's where it gets darker. Sign number 3 is about self-sabotage, and it's brutal. You finally meet someone who treats you well and you destroy it. You get a job opportunity you've dreamed about and you find a way to mess it up. You start healing, feeling better, making progress, and then suddenly you're back to square one. Why? Because deep down you don't believe you deserve good things. Trauma convinced you that suffering is normal and happiness is temporary. So when something good happens, your subconscious panics. Feels wrong. Feels dangerous. Your brain says this can't last, so let me end it before it ends me. And you do. You cheat, you quit, you pick fights, you disappear. Not because you want to, but because you're terrified of losing control. If you destroy it first, it can't destroy you. That's the logic of unresolved trauma. It makes you the architect of your own pain because pain is familiar and safety feels like a lie. If you've ever looked back at your life and wondered why you keep destroying the good things, this is why. Comment sign 3 if this one hit you. You're not alone in this pattern. Let's talk about perfectionism. Not the healthy kind where you care about doing things well. I'm talking about the kind that paralyzes you. The kind that makes you spend hours on a simple email because it has to be perfect. The kind that stops you from trying new things because you might fail. The kind that convinces you that anything less than flawless is worthless. This is sign number 4, and it's a trauma response. Somewhere along the way you learned that mistakes were dangerous. Maybe you had a parent who criticized everything. Maybe you were punished for failing. Maybe love felt conditional and you had to earn it by being perfect. So now you're stuck in this exhausting cycle. You set impossible standards, you inevitably fall short, and then you punish yourself with shame and self-hatred. Perfectionism isn't about excellence. It's about control. It's your traumatized brain saying, if I can just be perfect, maybe I'll finally be safe. But you're never perfect enough and the cycle never ends. If this resonates, write sign 4 below. So many of us are trapped in this prison we built ourselves. Now we move into the body, and this is where trauma gets really strange. Sign number 5 is chronic pain with no medical explanation. You've been to doctors. You've had tests. Everything comes back normal, but you're still in pain. Your back aches constantly. Your stomach churns. Your head pounds. Migraines that won't quit. Tension that never releases. And everyone keeps telling you it's all in your head. But here's the thing. They're not completely wrong, and that doesn't mean you're crazy. The body keeps the score. That's not just a book title. It's a scientific fact. Trauma gets stored in your muscles, your tissues, your nervous system. When your mind can't process something, your body holds on to it. That pain in your shoulders? It might be the weight of responsibility you carried too young. That knot in your stomach? It could be the fear you swallowed every day. Your body is screaming what your mind refuses to say. And until you address the trauma, the pain will keep coming back. If you're dealing with unexplained physical pain, comment sign 5. Your pain is real even if the doctors can't see it. Sign number 6 is sleep. Or rather, the lack of it. You can't fall asleep because your mind races with anxiety. You wake up at 3 in the morning, heart pounding, drenched in sweat. You have nightmares that feel too real. Or maybe you sleep too much, using it as an escape from a reality that feels too heavy. Unresolved trauma hijacks your sleep because your nervous system never fully relaxes. Even when you're lying in bed, safe and comfortable, your brain is on high alert. It's scanning for danger. It's replaying old threats. It's preparing for disasters that aren't coming. Sleep requires surrender, and trauma survivors don't know how to surrender. We learned that letting our guard down is dangerous. So we stay vigilant, exhausted, running on empty. And the lack of sleep makes everything worse. You're more reactive, more anxious, more depressed. It's a vicious cycle, and it's destroying you slowly. If insomnia or nightmares are part of your life, type sign 6 in the comments. You deserve rest, and it's possible to find it. Let's talk about isolation. Sign number 7 is the slow, quiet withdrawal from the world. You used to have friends, but you stopped reaching out. You used to enjoy social events, but now they feel exhausting. You make excuses. You cancel plans. You stay home alone, and at first it feels like relief. But then days turn into weeks. Weeks turn into months. And suddenly you realize you're completely alone, and you don't know how it happened. Here's how. Trauma makes connection feel dangerous. It makes vulnerability feel like weakness. So you isolate to protect yourself, but isolation makes the trauma worse. You're stuck in your head with no one to pull you out. Your thoughts get darker. Your perspective gets narrower. And the longer you stay isolated, the harder it becomes to reach out. You tell yourself people are better off without you. You convince yourself you prefer being alone. But deep down, you're drowning in loneliness and you don't know how to ask for help. If you've been isolating yourself even a little, comment sign 7. Connection is scary, but it's also the key to healing. Sign number 8 is boundaries, or the complete lack of them. You say yes when you mean no. You let people walk all over you. You give and give and give until you have nothing left. You stay in toxic relationships because leaving feels impossible. You tolerate disrespect, abuse, manipulation, all because you can't set a boundary to save your life. And it's not because you're weak. It's because trauma taught you that your needs don't matter. Maybe you grew up in a household where saying no got you punished. Maybe you learned that love meant sacrifice and suffering. Maybe you were told that setting boundaries was selfish. So now you're an adult who doesn't know how to protect yourself. You attract people who take advantage. You enable bad behavior. You burn yourself out trying to keep everyone else happy. And the worst part? You feel guilty when you even think about saying no. That guilt is the trauma talking. It's the voice of everyone who ever made you feel like you didn't deserve respect. If you struggle with boundaries, write sign 8 below. Learning to say no is one of the most powerful things you'll ever do. Now we're getting into the truly disturbing territory. Sign number 9 is a constant sense of danger. Even when you're safe, you don't feel safe. You walk into a room and immediately scan for exits. You hear a loud noise and your body goes into panic mode. You're always waiting for something bad to happen. You can't relax. You can't let your guard down. Your nervous system is stuck in fight or flight, and it's exhausting. This is hypervigilance, and it's one of the most common trauma responses. Your brain learned that the world is dangerous, and now it can't unlearn it. Every moment feels like a potential threat. Every person feels like a possible enemy. You're living in survival mode 24/7, and it's destroying your quality of life. You can't enjoy the present because you're too busy preparing for disaster. You can't trust good moments because you're waiting for them to turn bad. This is what unresolved trauma does. It traps you in a past that your body won't release. If this constant fear is your reality, comment sign 9. You're not paranoid. You're traumatized. And there's a difference. And now, the most disturbing sign of all. Sign number 10 is dissociation. This is when you disconnect from yourself, from your body, from reality. You're sitting in a conversation, but you're not really there. You're watching yourself from the outside. You feel numb, detached, like you're living in a fog. Time feels strange. Hours pass in what feels like minutes, or minutes feel like hours. You look in the mirror and don't recognize yourself. You go through the motions of life, but you're not present for any of it. Dissociation is your brain's emergency shutdown. When reality becomes too painful, too overwhelming, your mind just checks out. It's a survival mechanism and it probably saved you once. But now it's happening all the time and you're losing chunks of your life to this fog. You can't remember conversations. You can't connect with people. You feel like a ghost in your own existence. This is the sign that scares people the most because it feels like you're losing your mind. But you're not. You're just carrying trauma that's too heavy to hold. If dissociation is part of your life, type sign 10. This one is hard to talk about, but you need to know you're not alone. So there they are. 10 subtle signs of unresolved trauma. Maybe you recognized one. Maybe you recognized all 10. Either way, here's what I need you to understand. Recognizing these signs isn't the end. It's the beginning. Trauma doesn't have to control your life forever. Healing is possible. It's hard, it's messy, it's painful, but it's possible. Therapy helps. Support groups help. Connection helps. Learning about your nervous system helps. You don't have to carry this weight alone. And you don't have to feel ashamed for struggling. Trauma isn't your fault, but healing is your responsibility. So take the first step. Acknowledge what you're carrying. Reach out for help. Find a therapist who understands trauma. Talk to someone you trust. Start learning about your patterns and where they come from. You deserve a life that isn't controlled by your past. You deserve peace. You deserve joy. You deserve to feel safe in your own body. It won't happen overnight, but it can happen. Drop a comment telling me which signs you recognized in yourself. Let's build a community of people who are done suffering in silence. And if this video helped you, share it with someone who needs to hear this message. We're all in this together, and together we can heal.